It is February 2nd, Canada. We are at the Lids pop-up, the Violent Gentleman pop-up in Union Station. First Canadian episode with Nasher. Hi, Nasher.
How we doing, guys? Pleasure to be on the show.
Famous
Amazing.
Canadian.
Famous Canadian. No, well, so we start all of our episodes by saying that we refer to every time and every day as U.S. because in the NHL, you talk about U.S. Thanksgiving.
Right.
It's you want to be in the playoffs by U.S. Thanksgiving. So we refer to every time and every date as whether it's U.S. or something else. And we're in Canada at the All-Star game. How you doing, man?
Living the dream, dude. It's a pleasure to be here in Toronto. All-Stars, kind of buzzing. Now I'm here with you guys.
It is buzzing. Pete says all the time, we should get Nasher. And I'm like, can we get Nasher? And now we have you. How you liking All-Star life so far?
Good, man. It's been crazy here in Toronto. I think definitely as opposed to last year, like just the fans and the viewers that have come up to see me has been awesome, man. They were like lines out the door at our section at the game or at the draft yesterday, and man,
It is truly incredible.
The love here in Toronto is crazy.
Whenever I've spent time around you, you are like the god of like the 12 to 15-year-old demographic, like the 8 to 15-year-old demographic. You have swarms of kids following you everywhere. It's unbelievable.
You hear that he said you're for fucking kids. He said you're for children. He insulted you.
You're also for like fellas like me. We have a good time.
Hey, I'll have you know there was a team from Colombia yesterday that flew in for the draft. Like a 50-year-old guy came up to me, gave me a hug,
Hell
like, man, I love you. Like it's literally people from everywhere, every place.
Well, I bet the parents love you too because like you transition their kids away from like Bluey.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is way more fun to watch.
Yeah.
So for folks who don't know, Nasher is the premier hockey YouTuber, great on the sticks. I know nothing about that shit, but I am endlessly impressed by people who are amazing at it. I think in addition to all the great work you do, I think the reason you're so big is because hockey right now is at a place where the two coolest things you can do is like play hockey really well and just love hockey. And I think that like hockey historically has been a little gatekeepy and people like want to say, well, how much do you love hockey? What does this mean? All this sort of thing. I think that right now, like hockey has gotten to a place where hockey fans are just jazzed about hockey, and it is as simple as that.
I also think that like you were born at like the exact perfect time.
How old are you?
Where
29.
so like you were basically the same age, but I'm a little older. But like grew up playing video games.
Yep.
But like we're old enough to know how like business works, the internet works, and like the video game boom was hitting kind of like right when you were able to kind of capitalize on it.
Yep.
And it's like you were kind of the first in for a lot of people for like that space, and you've just managed to blow it up continuously as the video game industry is blown up. So like, do you ever think about just like, I was born at the very perfect time?
Yeah, like because when I think about YouTube and the space that I'm in right now, when I first got started, there were only 2 people making NHL or hockey videos on YouTube. So I was one of the first to hop in and do that. Obviously, like Call of Duty and other games were kind of big, and I just saw an opportunity there. Like, I love hockey. I play it every day. Why don't I just record it, hang out with my friends, and have fun in the process, you know?
Is there people that like you can look back on that were like, check out this loser making YouTube videos?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Like, my whole high school career, I didn't tell a single person that I did this. The only people that knew were, like, the ones that recorded videos with me, because it was terrifying. Like, I didn't want people to walk into school and somebody heard my 6.1 thousand rap that I made for a YouTube video. Like, do not pull up a clip of that, by the way, please.
It's dangerous.
So, did you go by Nasher back then?
I did. That was first gamer tag that I made on Xbox. I had the original Xbox and Nasher61, obviously a big Rick Nash fan. It was like a calendar I had in my room, and it was like Rick Nash, favorite food spaghetti, nickname Nasher. I was like, Nasher's the name. That's where it came from.
I'm seeing the meme of the people at the party that are all dancing, and it's high school, and you're like holding the cup saying like they don't know I'm Nasher. Although it was your choosing to. But you know what? Like Bo Burnham's like I know of people who like went to high school with Bo Burnham and stuff, and they were like, it wasn't that he was like that he like didn't fit in or anything. He just like didn't really make a big thing of it. So like we didn't like give him a ton of attention for it because he was just kind of like cooking quietly. And like when it hit, it hit. Other than people there not being a lot of like competition or people in that space? Like, why do you think it connected so well with people and still does?
Yeah, so for me at the beginning, I was purely a gaming guy, did only gaming. When it really started to blow up was when I tossed the GoPro on my head and started doing GoPro videos. Again, kind of same thing. Like there were people making GoPro videos, mountain biking, snowboarding, all that. No one was doing hockey. So I tossed that on and started filming those, and that's where, you know, people, you can watch a game on TV, you can't really understand what goes on behind the scenes and really feel the speed of the game, and tossing a GoPro on really lets you do that, you know?
Do you feel like, and I wonder this with Pete too, like, are there new ways to like, I mean, there always is and everything, but like, are there new untapped things that you think in a year or two, like Pete murdered Twitter because everybody was complaining and yelling about hockey on Twitter. Nobody was actually like posting stuff of hockey on Twitter, and Pete becomes this like amazing resource where it's like, oh yeah, this is like, we all like this thing. Why aren't we doing this? Same with you and like hockey videos and shit. Do you think that there's like another thing that in 5 years we're going to be saying, how are people not doing this? Or is it just like cook in the space you're in and hope it lasts?
The next thing that I want to get into is live streaming games. I think they should be doing this in the NHL. No brainer. Live streaming games like with the helmet cam. So being able to have, and again, will the NHL players ever agree to that? I don't know, but I think that's the dream scenario, is just like being able to hear every word that's said on the ice, unfiltered. Not that they would agree
dangerous.
to that, but I think that's what the people want to see.
You know what though? I think I want like elbow cams and shit like that for like principal point of contact conversations. And then when they'll be like, he lined him up, he was looking at his numbers. If there's a helmet cam and it's like
POV,
he had his head in the clouds.
POV, you're Tom Wilson's elbow.
Yeah, exactly. Just right on. It's like a heat-seeking missile.
That's a way to get their TikTok numbers up. It's just Tom Wilson elbow cam.
So what would it be like?
Actually,
they have
it's technically Nick Cousins' elbow cam now. Sorry.
They have
yeah.
So they have like mic'd up. What would it be for like elbow cammed
Elbowed
up?
up.
Elbow cammed up, and they pick players at random.
Yeah.
And every week they're like, Tom Wilson, we lucky guy, we keep picking you. It's just like always. It's always like the 5 most recent people to get suspended get it every week.
I disagree with the helmet cam thing, just because I feel like I get motion sickness when I watch a lot of those videos.
That's fair, yeah.
But like it is interesting to see the POV and like how difficult it is. As somebody who like, I didn't play hockey at any like serious level, to be like, damn, that shit moves so fast, and to see it from that angle is really, really impressive. One thing I wanted to ask you about is, how weird is it that your like identity is tied to a gamer tag that you made when you were a child, and that like you probably didn't think too much about in that moment, and now it's like still living with you day after day after day after day?
Yeah, I was a little, definitely a little embarrassed the first time I had to meet Rick Nash face to face, because well, he's not on social media at all. So I met his wife, and then his kids train at the Battery, so I met them, and then I finally met Rick, and he was thankful. He's like, hey, I appreciate what you do for the community. You're representing my name well, all this stuff. And I was like, I picked the right guy to at least have my name after. If there's anyone that I could have picked, I think he was the best one to choose.
That actually is a really good point, that you also got lucky by picking a guy who has aged very well and is still super, super cool. He has not gotten a shred less cool since retiring. Like, even when we went to Columbus, we went to our Columbus trip, and I was just like, I can't wait to get some Rick Nash stuff.
Yeah.
So
Were you heartbroken when you went to New York?
I was. I mean, I understood it. Obviously, the Blue Jackets have been in turmoil for a pretty long time now, and it was even worse back when he was around. So he deserved to go to, you know, a winning team and have a chance at a cup run. But
I just love that everybody goes to Columbus and like puts down roots there. And like whenever there's a new team, there's questions about like its viability and everything. Obviously, hockey, Columbus has like a very passionate fan base, but whether it's Foligno, whoever else, like guys stop through there and are like, you didn't stop through there, but like guys get there and they're like, this actually is going to be home for me.
Yeah, there's something about, we were talking earlier, just like kind of this, you know, it's a bigger city, but still that small town feel. And that's just, you connect with everyone there. Everyone's so kind. Yeah, I love it in Columbus.
how do you come up as a diehard Blue Jackets fan in that market?
For
Yeah,
me
for
or
you,
for someone?
for
For
you.
me, I went to the first ever game.
Really?
At Nationwide, yeah. So my dad was a season ticket holder growing up. So, you know, day one, I just got hooked, and unfortunately have been on the ride through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But
Our producer Sean has a lot of thoughts about the Canon. How do you feel about the Canon?
I like the Canon. Yeah.
Are you used to the Canon? Like,
I am.
You're
So,
used to it by now?
You see all the videos of the players that like, jump
yeah.
in their warm-ups and whatnot.
We went to the game and it went off a few times, and like we knew that it was coming, but we didn't quite get down the timing of it, so we were spooked every time.
There's always that little delay, like the goal score.
Yes.
There's a little delay, and then you kind of get the timing down as you're there.
I also got yelled at for touching the cannon. Didn't know you were supposed to. They didn't know you weren't allowed to touch the cannon. Although I was wondering it as a guy was talking to us as we were walking up to it. I was thinking about like what's the etiquette here. As I was doing all that thinking, he was saying, "Just don't touch the cannon."
Yeah.
And then I just went over. And I was like, he was
I
like,
mean,
"Motherfucker, what did I just
You
say?"
got to think
And
a
I was
lot of
like,
people have touched that thing. I mean,
oh my
come on.
God. So the people behind us were actually mad. This guy was like, "Hey, like, remember what I just fucking said?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But the people behind us were like big Blue Jackets fans, genuinely mad.
Yep.
This person is like, if they lose, it's your fault. And
I've never
I yelled
actually
back,
heard that
I was like,
superstition about the
"Oh,
cannon."
if the Blue Jackets lose, it's for sure. I for sure have something to do with that." Although I like the Blue Jackets roster. I mean, Marchenko's awesome. We sat down with him. What a personality.
Yep.
He's gonna be at this thing very soon.
He should be here this year.
I
in my
honestly,
mind.
I was rooting for him, or you maybe give it to Fantilli, one of those two. Boone, though, I think he's just like that grinder guy. Like he's gonna be the guy that goes out there and scores 4 in the All-Star game, just working hard.
I'll be honest, I hated it. I was so upset. We were accused of pushing the Marchenko agenda.
Yep.
Because we were pushing the Marchenko agenda. We were like, fucking vote this guy in. Or just like pick him. Make him one of the originals.
The thing is, like, I don't have any hard feelings against Boone Jenner. I don't really have many feelings about Boone Jenner, like, at all. I think he's a really nice player and has had a nice career. I'm glad that he's the captain of the Blue Jackets. It's probably a good thing. But like, if he's getting in the way of people that I want to see coming to events like this, I'm gonna start feeling some sort of way about Boone Jenner.
It's a bad captain. He should have recused himself.
Right?
Because he was coming back with the broken jaw too. Boom.
Yeah.
So this is like his first. He's just getting back into the swing of things.
And
now.
he's making, showing up Connor Bedard.
Yep.
Which is just like a disgusting move.
No, I think
kid.
Marchenko's going to be that guy. Like, if the Blue Jackets were good, he'd probably be getting more attention right now. Because you see the clips of him, he is the most charismatic guy in the league. Like, potentially the most.
Yes.
I've never, met someone who smiled that much.
Yep.
And not in a, you freaking me out, quit smiling kind of way. Like, his resting face is actually a smile.
It's beautiful. That's what it's all about.
It's a beautiful thing. He doesn't like music?
No.
I don't know how the conversation got there, but we asked him what kind of music he likes, and he was just very flatly like, "Oh, I don't like music." And we were like, "You don't like music?"
Fair enough.
He was like, "No, none of it."
He's smiling all the time. He doesn't need it.
So I think that's the thing that I love most about him. I love a lot of things about him, but he kind of defies the Russian stereotype that exists in hockey of very hard and stoic, yeah, and serious, and he's just the most adorable, fun-loving guy. So I love so many things about him, but just what a pleasure to be around that guy. That was my big takeaway from the Columbus
great,
trip.
Werenski great. Lot to like on that roster.
Yep.
Lot to like on that roster. I was asking you before about just being a full-time creator and how you strike the balance between obviously coming up, you're figuring out how to do all this stuff, you're rigging GoPros to your head and everything. As you get bigger and bigger and bigger and the demand for you gets bigger and bigger and bigger, how do you rope yourself off as talent and not spend your entire day just buried in your computer trying to make all these things?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning it was tough, right? So there was a point in time where me and my camera guy John were doing five videos a week, grinding down in the basement, 3 gaming videos, 2 GoPro videos. It was not sustainable. So we ended up getting my editor Strive. He's unreal. So we shoot stuff over to him, get it back in 6 hours, and then it's up on YouTube that same day. So we've just been grinding that way. Trying to think of new ideas, go bigger and better each and every time.
How do you feel about the creator boom that now exists, kind of even in this space alone? They did the creator games at All-Star Weekend, and it's now becoming a very popular thing to be a content creator, and like you were in that space first, how do you feel about like some of the kind of the boom that's happening right now?
That's what I've got a couple friends that are like teachers, and it's like the new astronaut. What you would say you would want to be as a kid is a YouTuber. Like everyone just wants to be a YouTuber. So I think it's encouraging. It's cool. Like there's going to be so many young kids that come up and innovate and try things that we would never think of. Also with that, like you can find content of literally anything. What I don't realize is like there's like a sewing channel that has 10 million subscribers. There's whatever you can think of. There's somebody that's bigger than we could ever imagine, and we might not have even heard of them.
There is no such thing as like there's not a market for this anymore. I remember that like when I was coming up like as like a young kid being like, I would like to do something like this, but I don't know if anybody would consume it. And I hope that anybody now who's like a young person will like never have that thought, because there is a place for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're entertaining, like that's like people, it all boils down to, is it entertaining? Does it reach your interests? And as you said, like there's a thing for, if you're into sewing, you can learn so much more about sewing than you ever could. And
that is hilarious, because we had a conversation that you wanted to get into sewing.
Yeah, Sean and I were saying like sewing machine, we fleece that out in like 1 week. We'll be making our own merch. It'd be incredible. As like an OG of the YouTube thing, it's also interesting to me, like people are coming up now, and when you were coming up, there wasn't anybody probably to look up to, and there wasn't anybody who could like shepherd you in. You're a gracious dude. Is it like kind of strange having all this wisdom to impart when it was all just sort of found for you?
Yeah, so I definitely looked up to a few people. Coach Jeremy, he was legitimately like the first hockey guy on YouTube, I feel like. So I've got some, help from him over the years. A lot of my friends, though, I feel like it just kind of comes naturally. Like you take one jump at a time. The NHL asked me to do like the Gaming World Championship commentary one year. I had zero broadcast experience. I was terrified to get on that stage, but it's just like, you got to just jump and do it, So my next step is like, I'm building a roller hockey rink in Columbus. So we're jumping into that. Never, owned a business of any sort like that, but we're going to jump in and just do it.
Has there ever been temptation to, like, a lot of times when people in new media really catch on, a lot of legacy media is like, all right, well then this is the guy that works. Let's do, like, was there ever temptation to just say, you know what? I'm going to do a TV show 5 nights a week instead, and I'm going to abandon this YouTube thing, and I'm going to do this? Or like, were you always so confident in like, I've made this thing, I would be nuts to leave it?
Yeah, I've always had the mindset of, I like being my own boss and traveling around and having creative freedom. TV is like, it's interesting, and would I maybe want to get into broadcasting someday? Sure, but I just like the freedom of like a YouTube vlog where you're just in and around your friends, recording everything, having a blast with it, versus like TV where there's like scripting, you got to read your ads, you got to read, this and that. I did work with Bleacher Report for a year, so same thing though. They just said, hey, make the content you're currently making and come with us to some events, and that was that.
And the best part is by continuing to do your own thing, like you end up, it's like the thing of like lifting free weights instead of a machine or whatever, where like you build all those muscles anyway. Like from doing your own thing, you're well spoken, you have good posture, you present well, you do all these things. So like you became like an ideal TV person anyway. And if you ever want to say like, you know what, I'm gonna host the Blue Jackets pregame show in addition to all the things I do down the road, like you just have all those skills now. It's wild. And again, it's done in a way that like 20 years ago just didn't fucking exist.
Do you find that TV is like difficult or like nerve-wracking for you at all? Because like I did the TV stuff first, really, and then I went to like sitting alone in my office speaking to my camera, and I found that speaking to the camera alone in my office was way harder and way more unnatural than just like being talked to by somebody else and just feeling like I was having a conversation.
I think the thing that I struggle with is when I'm doing a YouTube video, having multiple chances and being able to, cut back and edit stuff out. Where I think I've learned the best is like having a live Twitch chat and the live streams that way. Because then it's like, you got people watching you, even though they're not in the room with you, they're still there chatting it up and talking. I feel more comfortable just having that kind of audience there, I think.
Do you feel like your like love for video games has not dwindled, but like been affected by like it being your career?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It used to be like every night I'd get on, and now I'll film like during the day, and I honestly I can't really play NHL like for fun that much anymore. It feels like I always have to be recording and making something of it. So yeah, gaming not as much. I still play some games, but
How do you feel about the Michigan, both IRL and on the sticks?
Michigan IRL, I love it. I mean,
You have Michigan energy.
I don't understand. Yeah, the thing with Torts, and we heard his thing about the Michigan. Like the alternative to doing a Michigan is like a wraparound, and so a player can go for a wraparound. No one's gonna question it. They go for the Michigan, and it hits off the goalie's shoulder. Like what? I mean, what's the hurt in that? You know what I mean?
What I like about the Michigan is the Michigan being stopped.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a little tortsy of me, but like I like that it I don't know, I go back and forth on like I think sometimes now when people are behind the net, their first thought is like, what would be cool? And we're like, yeah, we all know it would be cool. Make the best play you can. Now I do sound extremely tortsy.
Yeah.
But like if the Michigan is the best play you can make there, then score the sickest goal of your life. Go do that.
My favorite thing about the Michigan is that when it works, it is extremely cool, and when it doesn't work, it is extremely embarrassing.
Yes,
So, like,
yes.
there's nothing in between, and it's a real risk.
What I think the next step is going to be is we see like Swaggy P and Always Hockey and Barber doing their stick tricks on the shootouts.
the wavy.
I really do think that's the next step. Like somebody is going to try that in an NHL game. The issue is that's worse of the worst. The Michigan, if you flub it, it goes behind the net. Do
Right.
it on a shootout and you're hearing it forever.
I mean,
got
if you're
guys
doing
just
this
waving,
shit and
that's
throw the
lacrosse.
puck against the boards, like you should be suspended for a month,
The
for
thing is,
embarrassment.
these guys are legitimately hitting it first try though, like in a shootout. Like that's why it's a move that you can't save. You go like this, as long as you keep it below the crossbar. I don't see why they don't try it.
I'd rather see that than see the Kuznetsov thing, where his shootout
True.
attempt takes 40 minutes.
I-
But you
He
love
scores-
that,
He
don't
always
you?
scores though. That's the
I
issue.
know.
He just
Like-
needs to get robbed once and then he'll stop doing it.
I can't even hate it. But
Do you guys have favorite shootout attempts?
I've always been just a Datsyuk guy. Nice and clean.
My
Datsyuk
guy.
Yeah.
nothing is better than just ripping a clapper.
It's Chara, yeah. Chara, my
It's the
favorite
best.
shootout contestant. Sorry to Kasper's Dogovins and all the people who have done funky things, but like Zdeno Chara being like, oh, who fucking shoots the puck harder than anyone in the world? Me. I'm just gonna get pretty close and make this guy run for his life.
Yeah.
It's some like true like D2 the Mighty Ducks are back shit.
I think the slap shot's kind of the same though. If you miss a slap shot, you look
you're an
dumb.
asshole.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that might be worse than even the Michigan.
But it's a little bit more like badass than the Michigan.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I am going to give you a straight on shot, just no frills. See what you can do. I
Yeah.
love that. So, I did want to ask you about the roller hockey rink. What's the deal with that? Like, what's your ultimate plan for that?
So for us in Columbus, ice hockey rinks are packed. We've got beer league games like happening at 11:30 p.m. That's the only time we can get in there. And it's just too expensive. So our dream with Heatwave is we just want this to be a place that a kid who's never touched the ice, never touched a hockey stick can come, and a lot cheaper, a lot more accessible, and we'll have times and programs for every age, every person you could think of.
So that's exactly the fucking shit I was talking about before. Like, that is why he is so endearing to the hockey community. Because, like, that is pure for love of the game stuff. Like, that is, like, get kids out there, start them. Like, I go to my nephew's skating lessons every week. Like, I'm like a stage parent, just being like, oh my God, they're skating.
Yeah.
They're going, like, they're watching the Zamboni. They're, like, picking up hockey sticks and everything. Hockey and fucking people getting into it is the best, and perpetuating that, especially in a place where like people fucking love hockey there, is awesome, dude. Good on you.
I think with all sports, you're gonna have anytime you get a basketball in your hand, you hear the swish, you're excited. Like hockey is one you just have to feel it. You're not gonna find your love for the game watching it. You have to just get the stick in your hand, feel what it feels like to shoot one bar down.
Disagree. Talking to the wrong guy. I didn't play, and I just fell in love watching it.
We're gonna have to get you guys out of the ring.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen
absolutely.
for sure.
Well,
Absolutely.
the thing that bums me out about like hockey conversation, and especially like coming from the TV side, is if people don't play hockey, they give themselves this, oh, well, I'm not allowed to play hockey thing. And a lot of that probably is from gatekeeping of years past. But I would always be so annoyed that like somebody would say, Oh well, I never really played growing up, so like I don't know. You talk about it, I don't get it, and I want to be like we fucking talk intelligently about football. Like Bill Belichick would watch whatever conversation we're having about like the Patriots, and I'm sure be like, these people don't know what they're talking about. Like relative, if you're doing the talking head thing, of course you're not going to be super duper like top tier expert on it. I wish that hockey like had that same sort of conversation, because the shit that we're just doing right now, speculating about like the Michigan, is the most fun I have, and it's not because I played JV hockey when I was in high school.
Right.
It's because I love hockey.
It's just assessing the vibes of the NHL and hockey, and that's kind of the way that I always approach it. So, those conversations can be had, and oftentimes they're more entertaining, at least to me, than like the X's and O's.
Well, we'll get you out on this. We've been trying to figure out. We were just in Columbus, amazing hockey town. What do you think of Toronto in a hockey town? As a hockey town, do you think that it's going to catch on here from the vibes so far?
I think it has potential to be a hockey town. It's got strong potential.
I saw like 2-3 people just like rocking the maple hats, the
That's
Maple Leafs
crazy.
hats.
What are the chances
so like
of that?
they're catching on here.
Yeah.
So
Well, Columbus, Toronto, loving hockey without winning Stanley Cups. So
oh man, who do you want? Like sincerely, who do you want to see win a cup next?
Columbus. Well, you mean like out of those two?
Yeah.
Columbus.
Yeah. But I don't want like Columbus to get to the cup final and lose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
want
yeah.
the Leafs to get to the
Devastating.
cup final and lose. I should whisper and say that, but like I want like maximum chaos.
I want the Leafs to get to the cup final, lose, and then like have like the world explode like that off season. Like, oh, we were so close, they would have done it next year.
We'll do the thing of like what like the 03 Red Sox did, where they were like, we were so close. All right, screw it. We're running it back, and we're adding a bunch of star players. So now we're definitely gonna win. Except like they don't.
They're horrible.
They like 2023 Bruins it and just like
Get
load
worse.
up, bounce in the first round.
Yes.
Hockey
Hell
helps
yeah.
you though. Nasher, what an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on with us and let us pick your brain about our wonderful sport and this crazy world we call the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hop on anytime, and definitely going to get you guys out on the rink here shortly.
Hell yeah.
Sincerely.
Yeah,
That'd
whenever
be
it's
good
up,
content
whenever
right
it's
there.
up,
Yeah, yeah.
grand opening, we will be there.
Got you.
Hell
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
yeah.